If a smart-ass masochist brats their way into a spanking, would the spanking be considered a punishment or something else entirely? If you're struggling to effectively train your submissive, if your attempts at behavior modification are failing, or if your submissive seems to be enjoying your chosen punishments a little more than they should, keep watching, because in this video, I'm going to explain the difference between a punishment and a funishment and how to effectively leverage both for a successful DS dynamic. If you're new to this channel, hello and welcome. I'm Miss Elle, and I'm so glad you're here, not only because I'm going to teach you how to effectively punish to maximize submissive training, but I have an awesome new resource just for you. My submissive punishment guide includes a breakdown of the main punishment types, as well as a checklist of over 60 of the most creative and effective BDSM punishments guaranteed to adjust any submissive's behavior. Just go over to patreon.com/LXerotica to get instant access. All right, so let's start by defining the differences between discipline, correction, and a punishment versus a punishment. So when I refer to discipline, I mean it as the act of training a submissive to obey and honor the dominant's code of behavior using punishment to correct disobedience. In other words, a submissive's daily rituals and protocols should reinforce the disciplines the dominant wishes to see and benefit from. Now, I view correction simply as the act of bringing awareness to the submissive. If a rule has been set or a command given and the submissive fails to adequately comply, the dominant can verbally correct the submissive with the intention to bring awareness and receive repentance from the submissive. Now, punishment occurs when a submissive willingly violates a known boundary, deliberately disobeys, or fails to comply with the dominant's command and receives a consequence deliberately intended to hurt their true pain point, which can be physical but is just as often not. Now, the stereotypical understanding is that frequent punishment is an integral part of a kinky dynamic. But I wholeheartedly disagree for a number of reasons that I plan to discuss in depth in an upcoming video about soft dominance. So be sure you're subscribed and have those notifications turned on so you won't miss anything new. But for our purposes today, I will simply assert my personal belief. If intimacy and connection is the ultimate goal for your DS dynamic, right? That passion, that connection, that into me you see where we can be playful and expressive and explore and do all this amazing kinky shit together requires intimacy. Into me you see. So connection, intimacy, the ultimate goal for your DS dynamic. If that is the case, punishment should be the last resort in correcting behavior because punishment welcomes shame and severs the connection. In fact, I believe that true power proves its existence in softness and self-control. Now, that is not to say that the desire to defend and protect, the presence of righteous anger, or intense or aggressive emotions indicates weakness. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking logically, okay? Just think about it with me. Anyone with massive size and strength can physically overpower their weaker prey and therefore intimidate them into compliance, right? But compliance is not submission, nor is intimidation power. Anyone with a weapon can easily control their chosen target using fear to do so. But cowering in fear does not make you a submissive. In the same way, generating fear does not make you a dominant. And the existence of punishment also reinforces my belief about punishment. I believe that in a well-functioning dynamic, not punishments, but frequent punishments should become a staple in the relationship because regardless of the appearance or execution, punishments are really just rewards wrapped in role play. All right? Essentially, a punishment is anything to which a submissive claims aversion, but really actually enjoys. Let's take the example I used in the opener. A smartass masochist brats their way into a spanking. Well, due to the fact that this masochist enjoys spankings and has bratted with the hope of receiving one as a result of their behavior, any subsequent spanking offered by the dominant would be a funishment, not a punishment. In this case, in this example, the true punishment would look more like no play altogether, or the dominant hitting the submissive's real pain point, like their hatred for a certain type of food, music, activity, etc., that can be incorporated into a punishment. So, using the example of a smartass masochist trying to brat their way into a spanking, let's determine when correction, discipline, punishment, and punishment should be used. Let's say the dominant established a daily ritual in which the submissive is expected to kneel nude before their dominant at the end of the day, offer verbal worship, and provide a foot massage. In doing so, the dominant introduced the qualities of humility and gratitude to the submissive as a point of daily discipline. And let's say that Friday night rolls around and the bratty sub is feeling extra feisty. Instead of kneeling at your feet and offering their worship as they serve you, they stand before you with their arms crossed, refusing to kneel and demanding play instead. When you reiterate your instruction, they mouth off and stick their tongue out at you. You now offer a stern correction and one last chance for the submissive to adjust their behavior. They brat again, tell you no, and trot out of the room. Now would be the appropriate time for punishment, like a long, tedious lecture and no play, or making your pickle-hating submissive write 100 lines about their disrespectful tongue while gagged with a pickle. Now, examples like this will be unavoidable in your dynamic, but a skillful dominant can greatly minimize such events by creating an environment of safety, earning trust, encouraging mutual vulnerability, and consistently fostering devotion in the heart of their submissive. So let's take a look at how this scenario could end in punishment instead in the case of a well-trained, devoted submissive. Friday night rolls around and the bratty sub is still feeling extra feisty. Instead of kneeling at your feet and offering their worship as they serve you, they stand before you with their arms crossed, refusing to kneel and demanding play instead. When you reiterate your instruction, they mouth off and stick their tongue out at you. You now offer a stern correction and one last chance for the submissive to adjust their behavior. This time, the submissive stops, considers their behavior, and corrects it. They drop to their knees and begin kissing your feet as they apologize and explain how much they miss you and how their eagerness for play caused them to act out of line. The submissive then proceeds with their expected ritual and offers their worship as they massage your feet. Now, if you feel there has been adequate remorse and would like to reward this repentance, this would be the time to consider a punishment, like leading the submissive through an intimate over-the-knee spanking, where they can experience their masochistic desires and feel the connection they crave as your palm greets their flesh. Again, the goal is to protect the connection you both crave, which can be accomplished through the mindful use of discipline, correction, punishments, and, when necessary, effective punishment. So I hope this helped simplify these 4 facets of submissive training so both partners can have the clarity and confidence they need. And again, to access my submissive punishment guide, which includes a checklist of over 60 of the most creative and effective BDSM punishments, just go over to patreon.com/LXerotica. And be sure you're subscribed and have those notifications turned on, because next week we're discussing the various structures and expectations you'll find in 24/7 dynamics versus scene-to-scene play.